Howdy, welcome back to yet another day in the quad life. Well, we're getting later in the month of September here, and we're still at it. There are a lot of aspects to cover when you're looking at living with a spinal cord injury. So today is going to be kind of a touchier subject, but I will ask that any comments, please keep them adult in nature, but it's something that I do get asked frequently. And that is, as someone with a spinal cord injury and no control, anything below my head, shoulders, then how do I answer the call of nature, we'll say? Well, everybody from when we're born has to, do number one and two. I think I've seen a book for young children that they're teaching them to use the bathroom called Everybody Poops. Well, everybody does go number one or two. And, using caregivers, it's a part of life that you need to get used to if you have a high level injury like mine, that someone else has to do literally everything for you, and that includes helping with the bathroom. So there are several different options or ways that can be managed for bathroom needs. So for number one, of needing to empty the bladder, I think really since World War II, this has been available that you can simply insert a tube into the bladder and let it empty. And that's the basic principle of it. And there are a few different options of this, that you can leave one in all the time that always drains to, say, a bag or something that's connected to your leg or by your bed. And then you don't have to worry about timing or anything of that sort. You just empty things as needed. And this is an option that I think a lot of people with lower level injuries do, or at least those that have partial arm movement, because then you are not as reliant on a caregiver and you can be more independent, shall we say, that you can somewhat take care of your own needs. However, like everything, there are good and bad points to it. I've read that doing this long term leads to more problems of like bladder cancer and other such issues. So I know a lot of people that have done it for decades and it works okay for them. But other options are to only cath, as it's called, intermittently or a few times a day. And that's what I do. So 4 times a day I visit the restroom. However, that makes it so that you are pretty tied to a certain schedule. So I take medication to help control bladder, that it's able to hold more, but 4 times a day, or about, say, every 6 hours, then I need to do my bathroom routine. And for most of the time, if I'm just around the house, that's okay. But it makes it a challenge for when I'm going out, that I need to look at my schedule and see if I need to adjust things, of maybe doing things a little bit earlier, or try to not drink quite as much and do things a little bit later. And when I am out and about, then a big issue that I have with using primarily female caregivers is trying to find a bathroom that we can both use. And I've talked about it before when I visit the fair, that, you know, there are very few family restrooms, as they're called, that both of us can go into. They're usually gender specific. So I know certain areas that I can visit, say doctor's offices, that they usually have a restroom and I can use. However, beyond that, then I really don't have many options. Most like gas stations or truck stops or that kind of thing don't have a place that I can use with, again, a female caregiver. It is a little bit easier when my dad is with me, that again we can go to any men's restroom, but then the case comes that the handicapped stall may not be large enough for both of us to fit into, or someone is using it for a long period, which we've had before. And I've also had recently, in the last couple months, that Dad and I went out to a train show that was just out of state, so we had to drive quite a ways. But I mean, I had to visit a restroom somewhere other than home. And the first one we went to, it was unfortunately a smaller place, and when Dad was helping me, it was so squished that he ended up cutting up his legs on my footrests. So that's, you know, not a good thing. But number two is kind of along the same lines, that there are a few options. That there is something called a colostomy bag that you can divert your colon to something external, and things work that way. And sometimes if someone has had a lot of colon trouble, say cancer, that kind of thing, then this is what they need to use. And otherwise, the only other option is to have someone manually remove anything. It's not a fun subject, but it's something that is unfortunately required. So that is the basics of how I answer the call of nature. Again, it's not a real fun subject, but it's something that has to be thought of fairly quickly after a spinal cord injury, of how to do what. But that is all for today, and the next episode will hopefully be on something that is not quite as particular, or that is a little more easy to talk about. But thanks for watching, and bye for now.